so you can remember to keep your pants on. Okay, so 4 minutes. We may or may not be live on Twitch and YouTube, but I'm getting a preview on Facebook, so it's picking
Nice.
something up.
Okay.
So,
It says
and
I
as
got
you
to
guys
refresh
can
because my
see,
computer's not.
yeah, okay. And if you can see, there should be a button that says recording, and then uploading.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen when it hits 100%?
Yeah, we're all done.
Uploaded. Yeah, then we're
Oh.
done. We just stopped.
We just lost Bob.
Clocking out for the day, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, this is in separate tracks, so I don't have to. Adriel, last week when Bob disconnected, you moved, and so and then it kept going, and so I had to move you frame by frame, and I'm like, this is getting annoying. So luckily with this, it's different tracks, and so he can just, if he's not going to be around, that stinks, but it'll just disappear, so I won't have to figure that out. Okay. Evan, if you can hear us, one thing you might want to do is keep your eye on the participant and in the chat, and just make sure they're muted. You can just make sure they're muted. Bob, it says you need to refresh something again. 3 minutes.
Hey, Mikey.
Already did that, so. Yeah.
Oh, what are you chasing your wine with today?
Water again. I told myself I'm gonna have no more than one bottle of wine a week, which is pretty reasonable.
2 minutes.
So you had 3 this week then? Weaning down?
Well, no,
No,
what he
I've
does
had-
is he buys those big Magnum bottles that are
Yeah. It's got
Like from a cruise?
Yeah. It comes on a dolly.
I think Bob's here. Let's see.
Ellie says hi and good luck, by the way. That's what that was when she popped her
Hi,
head in.
Ellie.
Hi. Good luck.
Yeah,
What's going on?
Just this.
Oh.
It wasn't like a good luck. It was like a good luck.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I know what he's
Have a
gonna
nice
do.
life.
Yeah. There you go. So she won't get far. She'll get stuck in the driveway with the snow.
That's so weird that Bob's is having such a problem.
We got a foot of sunshine today.
1 minute, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start the Facebook if it works. And
Okay.
I'm going to try to start the Facebook Live. So,
Oh.
in theory, we are now streaming. Not Twitter yet. I haven't set that up. On Facebook, YouTube, and possibly Twitch.
Ooh, the metaverse.
Yeah.
I'm a billionaire
We should
there.
we should all get together and do a show.
Man, really?
Do
What's
a show
that?
in the metaverse, but don't actually do it. Do it like this, and then we all just have the.
But just
the
all wear
Oculus
our
on.
goggles. Yeah.
Where all have the Oculuses on.
I want to get one of those things.
I do too. They're pretty dope.
Yeah.
I might punch someone. Have you seen those videos?
No.
20
Oh, like
seconds.
they actually like
20 seconds, 20 seconds.
kick.
Sorry.
15. 10 seconds. I think we're streaming. I really don't have any idea.
We'll do it live.
I'm trying to look at it. Yeah, that was the first. What's his face? Who said that?
Bill? No.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway,
blanking on his
the
name,
F it,
yeah.
we'll do it live. Yeah. That was the first thing we used on the first ever episode of VM Live, which was live, but it wasn't streamed live. That was back when we were just on Discord. We were just little babies on Discord, all talking and trying to record stuff and hoping it worked out.
The
Adrian,
first
you're gonna
ever
get
episode?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a kick. Say this, we're at the beginning of this stupid video, and now that video is a major thing we're doing. If you are watching this, please remember to hit that thumbs up,
Smash!
subscribe to us.
And what else?
I said
Subscribe.
and subscribe. No, I don't.
Smash!
Anyway,
It's alright, invoice VM.
there's Bob. Everybody, welcome to VM Live. My name is Jack Rollins. I'm your host, and with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, and the founder of Visible Man, Mr. Jeffrey Hoffman. What's going on, brother?
Hey guys, how are you? I'm good.
She asked herself.
I know, yeah. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know.
Bob here as well. You there with us now, Bob? Okay, we'll come
Can
back
you
to
hear
Bob.
me?
And we
Maybe.
have Adro,
Maybe.
Adro on as
3
well.
second delay. 3 second
Right.
delay in the conversation. That's all.
And we have Evan behind the glass, our producer. Evan's behind the glass. He is in the Discord chat right now. So we do stream this in the Discord, and that is the way for you to stay in contact with us and be a part of the show. The Discord server is open for anyone over the age of 18. We have moderated discussions about men and men's mental health on there daily. The link for that will be in the show notes. You can also go to visibleman.org. There's a QR code right there, and you just scan it, and it'll pop you right in. So today's topic is on how men deal with breakups, and this reminded me of, I don't think anybody's gonna get this, but there was like a parody boy band back in like the early 2000s called, I think they were called Together, and they released like an album. It was I think they did like a movie, and also I think Chris Farley's brother was in it. Like it was just
Oh, jeez.
it was just a pure parody,
Really?
kind of Spinal Tap-esque. But they had a song that was the hardest part of breaking up is getting back your stuff. And,
That is really awkward. That is. Oh, I got.
Yeah.
At least you guys got your stuff back.
Oh,
I didn't.
yeah. Okay.
I didn't get
That's
a
a
lot
good
of my
point.
stuff back.
No.
And over the breakups, yeah, there's and to me though, it's not so much getting your stuff back. It's when you get that kind of box or whatever, and there's stuff that like you gave them. That's like relationship centric, and you're like, so what you're saying to me is, you throw this out, is what you're saying. 'Cause then I'm stuck going through
I'm
that.
just-
in between
yeah.
everything else. And
I disavow
Coward.
myself from all those thoughtful things that you gave me. Oh, yeah.
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 Just keep the
Yeah.
stuff you want. I think we talked about that a couple of episodes ago before, I think it was before the holidays, because we were talking about going home for the holidays. And
Oh
Jeff,
yeah.
you were talking about having to go back to your old house and
Oh,
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
there.
Oh. I just like that like feeling of it's like it's this gross dread, but it's yeah.
Had to do that a couple of times, and like I think I told you guys about that. The one time with my ex wife, there was a family picture, and like they put like a sticker up over my face.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
No way.
I was okay with that, because it was like, well, I get like it was a nice picture. Let's get rid of the guy. It was better than like.
Oh, this was
scratching
at so
over
this
the
is
picture.
at your old house.
Yeah. She didn't do
There,
that.
there was a
like, when
family
you gave me the
picture, and there was like a sticker.
Yeah,
It's like censored or something.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And then,
dumb.
but then yeah, like you walk.
Just get a
in
new
there and there's
picture.
Yeah.
A full family picture. I don't think it was. They were professionally, like, you know, when you go to like the mall and you get the pictures done, they were like that. And I guess they just hadn't done a new one yet. But then, yeah, you see like the stuff you built, you know. and-
Oh yeah.
yeah. That was, and then my cats. Saw my
Oh,
cats,
right.
and that was the
Oh.
that was the hardest part for me. It was like, will they remember me? Because they're also cats. So there's an element of them not caring
They-
regardless.
Jack.
They do remember you?
It's hard to tell because the one was
That's
super,
hard. Cats are
always
weird.
super friendly. Yeah. It wasn't like a dog running up like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah,
acknowledge
go.
you're here.
It's
you
time
know?
to eat or what? Yeah.
Right. But that was the thing I was most scared of, was like seeing the cats, you know, because that was just
Yeah.
a reminder of everything. And the cats came from my cat. So it was kind of a, you know, like, you know, but I wasn't going to split them up, and I wasn't going to, you know, take them. So,
Yeah.
but the first thing I kind of want to ask you guys is, do you, when we're talking about this, do you want to consider divorces breakups? Are they similar enough, or, you know, is a divorce really a breakup with like paperwork, you know, or are they different enough that they should be two different discussions?
I think they're the same. They're on the same spectrum. Just one is
It's like a
potentially
breakup on steroids.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's kids and potentially kids, potentially a house. potentially
But those
potentially
things
more
could
years.
happen in a breakup too. In a
Yeah.
regular breakup.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah. I'd say
To
they're on the
me,
same
they're the
spectrum
same.
though.
Yeah, they're on the same, just maybe a little bit of a different like format, but
Yeah.
Yeah, one
still split.
one feels
Yeah.
like it cuts deeper, or
Mhm.
broad something. It feels like one's a
I would
lake,
say
one's an ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. The reason why I ask is because when I had first gone through my separation and that kind of stuff, I didn't have a lot of friends my age who were married, let alone having divorces or getting divorces. So,
Same.
yeah, they
Same.
would talk to me about, oh yeah, man, like I had this breakup, it was real bad, and I'm like, it's in that moment, I'm like, it's not the same thing, and so I'm curious to whether or not you guys think it's later on down the track, and you're
Oh,
like, yeah, you know,
you mean like when somebody was trying to compare their breakup to your divorce?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I know what it's
Uh,
like. I just
yeah.
went through a breakup. Like, they,
Yeah. It's not.
yeah.
But I think one of the things that happens in that I kind of factored in anyway with a marriage versus a divorce versus a breakup is when you get into relationships with somebody and you have a relationship, obviously family, friends, those kind of people in some way should be involved. They should meet them and be a part of their lives and all that kind of stuff. But there's no, like, for me it was the wedding that kind of separated. It was that I invited all of these people that flew in, some of them from all over the country. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they were celebrating. They there was time involved, there was money involved, there were gifts involved, and like the warranty wouldn't be out on some of these things by the time, that we did end up splitting.
The warranty.
The gifts,
Like you want your money back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I, you don't get that in a regular like relationship breakup. You don't get that celebratory kind of thing where we're sitting there in front of everybody and saying, I will love this person and be with this person for the rest of my life. I'm doing all these vows, and then like, I felt like I let everybody else down because of that, regardless of whether or not that's actually true. Because I'm sure besides caring about me, like they were like, so what? I mean, it wasn't like 2
Yeah.
weeks later, so it wasn't like,
That's
a
some. I
sham,
would.
but
I would say that's something that I still hold on to is how I do feel like I do feel like I let down the family of my ex-wife. Like like if I look at breakups, whether I met the person's kids or not, like if I was a part of their life more than just them, I don't feel good about that. But with my marriage, I do feel like I think about those people all the time. And I'm like, I hope they're okay, and I worry about them, and I do love them in a way, but it's different now. But I would say it's more wrapped up and complex. I do feel like that.
Well,
how
I
about you,
think
Vic?
I think a divorce, like it's just when it comes to a relationship with a marriage, there's an assumption that that relationship's been going on for like a while, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if someone's been married, like it's a lot of people assume they've been together a lot longer than someone who's just like, hey, this is my girlfriend, right? Hey, this is my wife, this is my husband, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's like divorce like cuts deeper, just because you're splitting after presumably a lot longer time than just a regular like relationship, like boyfriend girlfriend or dating. But to me, for when it comes to a divorce, a breakup happens first, right? Like
Right.
you
Oh,
split, you
okay.
split up first,
Okay.
and then
Oh
the
yeah.
the divorce is just the formality of actually ending like the government or legal portion of it. But you guys are already broken up, right?
That's a good.
Okay.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Because by the time
Okay.
that you're
Yeah.
signing the
At,
papers, you're
at least
emotionally
that
in
that
different
was
ways.
that's the case for me. That's the case where I'm going through right now. Like me and my ex, we're still legally married because we're going through the divorce process, but we have not been together for 2 years now.
Hmm.
Right.
Dude, you're in it,
Okay.
man. Just as a side note, that's so hard. That's so hard.
A lot of the stuff you guys are saying is really that's why I'm kind of having like a visible
Yeah.
reaction. It's
Yeah,
hits home
I
because
can
it's
see
very
it.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, besides, it goes back to like the wedding thing. Is that and can't say all of my relationships because I probably said a lot of dumb stuff when I was like 15 trying to date people. But like in my adult
Hey,
relationships,
baby.
there tended not to be, well, there tended not to be vows. You tend not to make
Oh
a legal
man.
promise or a religious promise if
Uh,
you have a religious ceremony, you
yeah.
know. So
Mm.
there's kind of a shame in there of, I made the heaviest type of promise before my family, before the government,
Mhm.
and if you did a religious ceremony before my God,
Mhm.
or gods, whatever, religion. And here I am, breaking it.
Yeah.
That to me just added like I've, they say marriage isn't a failure, and I don't know how much of that kind of stuff I believe. I think some of that stuff's just kind of soft talking to make people feel
Mhm.
A
better in the
divorce
moment.
isn't a failure, you mean?
Or divorce, yeah, marriage is a failure. Yeah, divorce isn't a failure. uh, yeah, I'm not a fan of that whole, well, maybe you weren't supposed to be married to somebody forever. Like I think that's um, but yeah, that extra, that I felt that guilt and I felt that like weight, no matter, throughout
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
process, of
What's interesting is
failing.
you said um, there's a lot of shame involved, and then just now you said guilt, and we had an interesting discussion about that in the server. Like I think it was last week about the difference between those two. About like shame is, and I'm gonna mess up the definition, but one is more internally focused, I think, and one is guilt, like you did something wrong. I think it's like
Yeah,
externally focused, but they're
I agree
weighted
on it.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody, I don't think anybody was like, well, you screwed that up,
Mm.
to me. But I felt like everybody was thinking that. I remember, it was like, it probably would have been 2 or 3 weeks after we separated. We,
Oh,
this beautiful town, Leadington, Michigan. My whole family goes there every year,
oh
and
no.
that's also where I proposed to her. And they all knew about. They were all there. So
Oh
it was
no.
learn that
You
lesson
still
the hard way.
went, bro?
Yeah, well, I felt like I needed to because I hadn't gone in a couple of years, partially because of the issues in the marriage. But I felt like I needed to go. I
Wait, so
needed
you
this
went
kind of
with your ex after you
without.
separated? Oh,
No,
without. Okay,
without her.
okay,
So my whole family
okay,
goes up there. I go up there,
okay.
and I didn't have it within me to like tell everybody, but like also didn't want to be asked. So
They
told my
didn't
mom.
know?
I'm like, no, well, no. I mean, they'll spread all over the country, and this is only 3 weeks in. So this might have been like a week or two. It was in that area that I said to my mom, I'm like, can you, because she's in communication with them, can you tell them, and then like also tell them that I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to have any questions. I don't want to have any just pretend like it didn't happen. Like, which was probably a pretty terrible thing to either A, ask her to do, but then B, to like to, because I felt like when I went up there, everybody I just felt this, and nobody was
Mhm.
like, everybody was being cool, but I felt like everybody was looking down at me, and the fact that I
Oh,
told her to tell them not to talk about it, I think actually made some
made
people
it
feel brave
worse.
enough. Like
It's
made
like
it
there's
feel
an
like they could talk
elephant,
to
but
me at
I don't
all.
want to talk about it.
It made it feel like they couldn't talk to me at all, and
Yeah.
so
Oh,
because like
like
you're not gonna ask
eggshells
somebody
kind
how
of
they're,
thing.
yeah, like you're not gonna ask somebody
Yeah.
how they're doing, when like their leg is visibly
Right.
missing and bleeding.
How
Like
are you?
that's
I don't want to ask
clearly,
him if he wants more chicken because he's
yeah,
probably gonna cry. I'm probably not
right,
gonna talk to him.
right. So that probably made it more awkward. But when I was up there that whole time, it just felt like every time somebody like looked at me, I saw a face that they made, that they didn't actually make, but like I saw like a shame,
Mm,
Oh, bro.
you failed this kind
yeah.
of third divorce in like my entire extended family. You know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
you know, um, and so yeah, but they didn't have that. They probably felt bad that I was, but it is what it is.
I think they don't like. I
And
think people don't know what to say, especially if divorce isn't common.
hmm
They kind of don't. It's if it's good if it's not common. I would hope. I mean, I was the first. I was the first of my siblings to get divorced, and I think people just were like, well, sorry." Like they don't know what to say. You know.
yeah,
I was like the first in my whole family. It's like I don't have any like any siblings. My parents, my grandparents all together.
hmm
I mean
Wow.
I don't have any siblings that are divorced.
Hmm.
right,
But like aunts and uncles and stuff, like you got to go like way down. Now, not saying that everyone's in a happy marriage,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm definitely the only divorced person.
I
Yeah.
think there's because you come from a very Catholic family too, don't you, Adrian?
Yep,
Yeah. See,
yep.
that's with Irish Catholic. Yeah, like that. Just you don't.
You
get
don't.
married and you do one thing, and that is not divorce.
Mhm.
So yeah, I felt that guilt, but I never felt that guilt with a breakup. Um,
Mm.
even I never felt I felt terrible towards the breakup, you know, and I felt all the feelings that you feel when you break up, which we'll probably talk about here in the next segment. But I didn't feel like my family and my friends, unless they knew the person and there was kind of a sides, how do you pick sides kind of thing. Like I
Yeah.
didn't feel any of that. It is what it is. I was
Yeah.
depressed, but I didn't have that extra guilt piled on.
It's like it's not a, I don't know, global systemic failure. I hate to say that word, but like it's a breakup. It's a relationship that ended versus, oh crap, everything fell to shit. Like everything fell apart with your life. Like, man,
Yeah.
this feels different.
I wonder if that just points out because the silly thing is we're getting to that point where, statistically speaking, you're more likely to divorce than, stay together if we're not already there, But we still have this extra weight that we have added on to marriages, that we just aren't that great at removing yet. Now I take marriage seriously. I don't know you guys do too. So I mean, we have that element, but if 60% of people getting divorced, I mean, I think we have to kind of look at the writing on the wall, and see that, maybe marriage isn't as special, important, we shouldn't give it as much weight as we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relationship at the end of the day. But yeah, there's something about that commitment. I don't know, because again, I'm divorced and I don't have plans to ever get married again. But there is something about it that I can. It feels elevated, like to a different level of commitment that I respect.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, whether you're wearing a ring or signed a paper or not, you still have to choose to be with that person and go through the hard times, and that's hard regardless of the commitment that you're making.
Hmm.
I'm I'm like the opposite. It's like I'm going through the divorce process. I'm not closing off like the possibility of being
Hmm.
married. But like for me, it's like I view it like this. It's like, it's like people, people change over time, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's like if, like if you got married when you were in your 20s or 30s, like you're not going to be the same person you are like in your 30s, 40s, 50s. So,
Hmm.
if it worked out for 10, 15 years, but it's not, or the person changes and they want a completely different path than you are, then it's like why be there and just suffer?
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, it doesn't work,
Hmm.
after a while, no matter how good it was in the beginning. So it's like if people get, divorced after being married for like 20, 30 years, everyone's like, "Oh, well, why?" And it's like, "Well,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't work now like it did
Yeah.
back then."
Right. Yeah. No. I think we're kind of agreeing with that. I mean, I at least on a societal standard, not personally, because I personally am not a huge fan of a lot of that, but as a society, I think yeah, we're doing it statistically, but we're not acknowledging it.
Hmm.
We're not treating marriage from an outside perspective. Like we can all sit here and say that, but then when somebody goes and gets divorced, they feel that weight, that
Yep.
shame, all those kind of things. So we're not quite there yet. So we're gonna keep discussing divorce when we come back from the break in just a minute. Okay, 2 minutes. I think we lost Bob.
Yeah.
I think he gave up.
I think I should just set up another desk in my office because I have good Wi-Fi in my house, so I should just like have him over
You
and
and Bob next to each other.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys would just be echoing off of each other the
Oh
entire
my
time.
gosh, yeah. We'll just use and it'd just be like an
Hmm.
audio nightmare, but it'd be
Oh,
good Wi,
Put
good
your
video
microphone
though.
right in the
yeah.
and then
Hey,
So two,
Jeff.
two
Hey, Bob.
mics, so that they bounce and feedback off each other.
yeah.
It sucks that he's not here because I'm sure he's got some good
I'm
stories
sure he does.
about this.
I'll just add him in later. I'll just do like Bob say some stuff and then just cut him in.
Yeah, just have him nod, laugh like a laugh track.
Ask him like some hella random questions and put it in. Like he's
Yeah,
talking
out of
about like
context.
Yeah.
his Super Bowl plans.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's really inappropriate, Bob. What are you talking
Wow.
about?
You shouldn't
I
be
don't want to
talking
talk
about your
about your.
dog like that.
Yeah.
1 minute.
That'd be so funny. Bob like talking about his like worst like experience with the mechanic.
All right. So
You know?
breakup stories when we get back. Okay.
Breakup
50
stories.
seconds to think of one.
But are we talking about like from marriage or just like non-marriage
I'm
breakups?
gonna ask you which one was your worst one.
Oh,
Oh.
all right. Here we go.
Jeff can't answer that.
I can't answer that.
Not on camera. No.
Why
30
not? I was
seconds.
like, what?
I'm just messing with you.
I'm like, whoa, why
answer,
not?
answer it now. The mic's not hot, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Absolutely not. You are streaming to one person on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't
Somebody
even
in
know.
Germany is like, I want to hear what Adriel's life is about.
9?
All right. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Oh. In the shoulders.
We are on Patreon, by the way. Working out what we want to do with that. It's difficult because that the majority of the things that VM does are free. We don't want to have paywalls and all those kind of things set up to sit there and say, you know, we want to help you if you pay $14.99 a month. So out what we want to do. I think the first suggestion we had was Jeff was going to sign an Excel sheet of your choosing. And then-
Custom spreadsheets.
He's gonna sign it in with a formula. Equals parentheses Jeff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Insert.
Yes.
Signature,
I think,
yeah.
The second thing, going to rate your shoe collection for you.
Oh.
And then last
It's
one was
trash.
Jeff was gonna, yeah,
Mine
right.
would be
Jeff
trash.
was gonna pay your taxes or do your taxes for
Oh,
you.
pay!
The more you
Okay.
pay- the
Okay.
pay would be awesome.
Wait.
He's gonna do your
Oh.
taxes for you.
Okay, so we should probably
Hey.
talk about that part of it because that
No, hold
doesn't
on.
sound
The more
familiar.
you pay, the more info they donate, the more effort you actually put into it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so $5 a month, you just sign the form and turn it in.
Yeah, just like whatever. Yeah. Hope you don't get audited, sucker.
But anyway, if you would like to support the work that we're doing here at Visible Man, both with the live streaming and then the podcasts and all the discussions and talks and stuff like that we have, check us out at patreon.com/visible. Remember that. I know on Facebook, I think it's right in the first comment, but for everybody else, it'll be in the show notes. We do have to come up with something. I gotta come up with something. Maybe I'll do I was watching or listening to one podcast they
Patreon?
had. The announcer would do a voicemail. He'd record a voicemail.
Oh.
But there's still no way to do MP3 uploads of voicemails. So it's 2022, and we still have to do the in the 90s.
Like hold your
Or
phone.
we'd have MTV on really loud, and holding the phone up to it.
You like pause your radio to get rid of the commercials. Yeah.
Yep.
Call me back.
Oh man.
I know, Jeff, you didn't do that, but I know for a fact that Adro did it, and I know
Hell yeah.
Did what?
Every week.
held your phone up to MTV or something like that, or BET or whatever, with the music with your theme song playing.
Mm.
This is Jack. Call me back, man, and then hung up real quick.
I would wait till 2 in the morning when they started playing uncensored music to record it.
Terrible. I mean, when
Hell
you
yeah.
call somebody with those, I think they still exist. Do you remember those ringback tones where you'd call someone and it would play hold music?
A different song, yeah.
Oh my god!
You could have a
And
song for each forever.
and they paid for that. I mean, they
Yeah, I
would pay
did.
for you to hear cello
Like a couple
music or
bucks,
some
right?
Crap when you were. Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
I would spend,
money
I would spend
Yeah.
$10 a month on ringtones.
on your
When
ringtone.
someone's when someone new single will come out, I'd have each person have their own ringtone. Oh my god.
I had a karaoke machine stuff, so I'd record it onto the karaoke machine from the radio, transfer it to the computer,
My
and then
god.
you had it.
Wow.
Yeah, I went because they have all these things now or back then they were doing all the protection and all those kind of things, and so it was difficult, but it was nobody can block analog to analog. I mean, if you record something with the tape, there's no way that you can block that. So, yeah, I have these old tapes with just snippets of random songs from the.
Did you ever
1995
slice it
to-
and literally tape it?
Have I ever cut tape?
Yeah,
real,
I
real?
just Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember doing that like in 8th grade or like
Hmm.
early high school, like literally cutting it and like taking cellophane tape and taping it together.
Yep, reel to reel. Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
They taught us how to do
Do
that
that
briefly, and then they were like, "Just kidding, you don't gotta do that anymore." Okay, so breakups. I think we kind of, I don't think we were definitive about it, but I think we kind of did say, pull out that the divorces and break are similar in a lot of ways, but they are kind of two different things, especially from the legal, perspective. There's a lot of nuance and stuff that goes into that.
Mm.
I'd like to hear are if you can think of what would be like first one that comes to mind, like worst breakup you've ever had.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Oh my
Go
gosh.
for it.
Okay. So this happened 3 years ago. Like, this is happening tonight. No, 3 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
She doesn't know.
Yeah. Don't publish this until I break up with her. No. It was the worst one so far in my life. It was so we weren't together for very long, and I've talked about this on the show before. 6 months maybe, and I don't know what it was about her, and I could go on and on about her, like what I found attractive about her and how I felt with her. But we were just kind of settling into a rhythm, and I was getting scared. I was getting like, I remember telling her, I was like I'm scared by how close we're getting because it was really fast, and I admittedly sabotaged it. I went on another date when I was seeing her, and I was open about it. I didn't lie about it, but it did not do anything to draw her closer to me. It was helping her. It was pushing her away. And and so over the course of weeks, she kind of faded a bit, and she's like, "Oh, I got stuff to do." And you know what, I really, and she was going through a divorce at the time. She's like, I got to focus on my kids. I'm like, okay, I totally get that. I've got kids. Kids come first, always, no question. I didn't even question it. That it was a line, and so it was brutal, and it was just paused, and and I gave her time, and I'm this whole time every day I'm hoping that like this isn't over. She just needs some time, and after like 3 months, I messaged her friend, and I was like, "Can you check in on her? Because I haven't heard from her. Make sure she's okay." Yeah. So her friend messaged her, and she's like the same day she messaged me, and she was like, "Can I come to your house?" And I was like, "Yes, you're coming over
shit.
finally." I was like, "This is amazing." I was like, getting ready and all that kind of stuff. And she shows up at the door. Oh my God, I embraced her. I was like the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, you can
shit.
see it coming.
Oh,
And,
shit.
it was like I wanted to pick her up. I just wanted to eat her. I just was in love with her. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I just touched her, it was like it was like a feeling of somebody feeling disgusted by your touch. Like she just recoiled, and it was like your blood
Oh,
ran
shit.
cold, and I was like, "Oh, something's going on. This is weird." So we sat outside, and then and we sat in on the couch right out there, and she's like, "I've been seeing somebody this whole time, and we can't see each other anymore." And it wasn't, I mean, from the moment she said it was, I needed time, I needed to focus on my kids, not 1 ounce of me doubted that. And then at that moment when she said I've been seeing somebody else, it was, it just shattered things. It was so hard. And I told myself, and this is like the vindictive, passive aggressive part of me, I was like, well, you didn't talk to me for 3 months. I'm not going to talk to you for 3 months. So I blocked her, like that's going to help or anything. And then I unblocked her 3 months to the minute later. And then,
Oh my God.
dude, it has taken me a long time to get to the point where I can laugh about it. And I'm still, I wouldn't say over her, but it was very hard.
So
Damn,
that
bro.
was, you consider that worse than your divorce?
Different. It was, I don't know that it was worse. I don't know that I mean, I still live daily with the regrets and the shame and feeling like I failed the marriage every day,
Yeah.
With this other person, it was like a comet or like a meteor. It was just like full, every ounce of my being was like, that's amazing, and then it stopped. So it was very short and intense. So it was very different than a 15-year marriage, you know. But
Yeah, yeah,
both of them,
that's true.
both
Yeah.
of them were pretty bad. I don't know who would win.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
What-
gonna wouldn't do again. Yeah.
With the marriage, did you like? Is it because like you kind of maybe like saw it coming or felt like it was near its end, and then with this person, it was just like a boom, like a punch in the face, like unexpected.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. Yeah, I mean, like with the marriage, I mean, we lived together and we were together. I've known her for over 20 years. We were married officially for 15 or so, and it was,
Oh,
it's like a
long time.
slow, you know, like a slow erosion of things. And we have kids together, so there was a bit of I don't want to say a buffer, but there was a energy put into sustaining what it looks like things are going to be okay, you know. Whereas with this other person, we didn't have kids together, we just had a relationship, and so there was just raw in it kind of infatuation and love and emotion and stuff. So it was, yeah. With the breakup, it was more of an instantaneous pop that sucked.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to. Because I mean, for me, it's so clearly the divorce was like
Mine too.
leaps and bounds, like the worst, and because of,
Yeah.
and I think Joe's couldn't relate to a lot of this, but like because of the circumstances surrounding it and the pain and all the things that were going on around it, the unanswered questions, all these things that happened around it made the divorce hardest breakup for me. The only other like notable one that I've been a couple of hours that I can think of is probably like my first real girlfriend. And that first one, there's always going to be, a little love for that first one. That's your first love. That's your first. It's so innocent and we look back and cute and like, oh my gosh, I freaked out when we held hands, like that kind of stuff. But it's pure, and it's real. Like
It's
that
very
love,
pure. Pure
yeah,
is a
it's like
good
when
word.
you hear
Yeah.
about a kid, teenager or whatever, going through their first breakup, like you look at that and you're like, that's not that big a deal, But to them, that is the capacity of love that they have. So it feels as monumental. You just eventually kind of grow beyond that. But the reason I remember this, besides the fact that she was my first love, is, yeah, she wanted to break up, and I didn't know why, and I was, heartbroken and all those things. And we still would like saw each other and we talk a little bit on the phone and stuff. So it was just kind of, and then my dad died like a week after or 2 weeks after like this all happened.
Oh,
And so,
shit.
Oh god.
and so
That's a
she,
rough
yeah, and
month.
so it was just like, yeah, and it was also, by the
Fuck.
way, this is all around my birthday too.
Oh my
And
god, bro.
she, of course, and her family came to the funeral. I mean, they were from the same church. Like there was crossover, so it wasn't like, and
Yeah.
we were,
Yeah.
in 8th grade, so it wasn't like,
Yeah.
but I remember, and she spent some time with me, and I remember later on trying to kind of, get back with you and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, a 16-year-old saying about that, referring like she was in 8th grade. But I was in such a shock, because everything,
Oh yeah.
there was nothing. But the breakup itself wasn't that bad. I still, every once in a while, will talk to her. I mean, I think she's married, she's got kids.
Really?
It was grew out of it.
Huh.
It's not that big a deal. It's, it is what it is. We were in 8th grade, But yeah, man, that probably that month sucked ass. That was not a great
It was not.
It's like
No.
it's still, I don't know. I don't know what the right word is, but like at your age now and our age now, that how old? You were in 8th grade?
yeah.
You still
So I
carry
would
it
have
with you.
been
Whoa, 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 Jeff, your age is different than Jack and
Wait,
my age.
yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got like 10 years on you. No, more than that. 15 years. I'm 47, so. But that you still carry that with you. Yeah.
No, if I don't know, I mean, I think again for that first love, I think everybody to an extent. I mean, you don't look back on it and cry, like clearly I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like, man, I really wish I could have acted differently when I was going through puberty. Like there's,
Yeah.
like we were kids. You know what I mean? At that moment, it was real and it was honest and it was pure and
Yeah.
it was actual
Hmm.
love. Now it's like, nah, okay, it's not that big a deal. But I wonder how much of that is because of what happened outside of us, in that same time
Mm.
period, or if it was because she was kind of my first love, and
Mm.
if it's more memorable because of everything else that happened. Because it's not like you have a second first love, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Um,
Mm.
When you're that young, like you guys said, like the love is real. It's pure, right? Like you said, it's very pure. So like the other emotions that come with it are also very pure.
mhm.
It's like that.
Mm.
When it comes to the hurt, the pain that you feel, and so we look at it back at it because at that point in time, that was the most painful thing we have ever experienced. The only reason why we can
Mhm.
look back on it and think like, hey, that wasn't that bad, is because we had some other shit happen to us that was way worse.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
And in that moment, people compare a relationship or the ending of a relationship or divorce a lot of times as a death, and I agree with that.
it
Um,
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
but
There's
like
a
back
mourning
then,
process.
yeah, when you broke up with someone, you still had to see them in history class. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like we
Oh,
you know what I
and
mean?
your
Oh.
No,
relationship's history now.
right, right. And that was
Ah,
before
that's
social media, so
right.
there was no like switching over at the
No, there was. No, there
not
was. Like
well, eighth
when you
grade.
when you
You had
when you take MySpace, when you take them
I,
off your top eight.
really? It wasn't
Yeah, it
around when I was in
was.
eighth grade. Really? It was. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I was in MySpace in eighth grade.
because
Wow.
Facebook started.
Okay.
We're like, yeah, we're like the
We
same
were the
age,
first year. We
basically.
were like the first Facebook in colleges outside of
Yeah,
Stanford or
because I
whatever. We were the
switched.
first year.
I switched to Facebook maybe like junior senior year of like high school. So yeah, we were, or it was like
College.
Friendster,
Yeah.
or like
You
Friendster,
got the
like
college
LiveJournal
email,
thing.
and that's how you Facebook back in the day. And it was the most boring piece of crap. The only thing that made it nice is if you were going to college, you could do groups and stuff. But my gosh, we were so enamored, like MIDI music
Yeah.
and glittery profiles on MySpace.
Uh,
And it's just like people telling about going to lunch, and we thought it was the most boring, god awful. And yeah, that changed.
those were funny.
Yeah,
Those were funny times, man. But
they were.
with the break, even like because I have an 18-year-old sister now,
Hmm.
so it's like I never try to belittle like someone of that age groups like
Yeah.
breakup by telling them like it's not that bad. You're gonna be with 10, a million other people. You're gonna get your heart broken again a million other times. I never try to like
Hmm.
bring them down to that, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
you have to have empathy from your time period, from your time being like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to remember who you were back. Know that. Yeah, that's the limit. It's with any of that kind of stuff. I mean, and I've heard about that in general. Like you see, a kid freaking out about something. Like it's not that big a deal. You see the bigger picture. You have age. You have wisdom. You have all these other kind of notes that they don't have. So when they're in that moment,
Yeah.
we can even laugh at it almost. But when they're in, but they're
Mhm.
really feeling that, and I totally
Mm.
agree. When it comes to love, when
Oh.
it comes to those kind of things, an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, whatever, if there was love,
Yeah.
the end of it, and that pain's going to be real, and they're going to have to get up and go to class and do all the same, that we kind of have to do with work. It's just we just kind of call it puppy love, which I think is dismissive of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Because of the
dismissive.
powerfulness of it. Okay, well, we're going to continue this conversation right after break. 2 minutes. I really have no
Bob
idea how to
texted me.
Oh,
Oh
you
yeah,
say.
he probably texted me too,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
I
I
put my
guess I
phone on
won't be on
airplane.
tonight.
Yeah,
You're trying to make me feel bad for not doing that?
he posted it in the chat, so I saw that.
Oh, it keeps telling me to reload.
Yeah, which we also saw. I don't know if you guys did, but I saw it kept warning me that he needed to reload. Um, since Evans he hasn't had to do a lot, so I'm just like imagine Evans just in there with the chat's just like
These guys are dumbasses.
yeah.
Bob can't
Well,
connect. They can't survive without me.
They would really can't. Last
I
6
know.
shows
We need
left.
you, Evan.
1 minute. 1 minute.
We love you, Evan. We need you.
That once we start really getting going, like he
Oh
enough
yeah,
work cut out for him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh. 30 seconds. And then Adro's gonna come on there and just I'm 1 for 1 actually. Never had a break.
I can go a lot of ways.
Got
I
that
can be
recorded. 15,
shit.
10 seconds. First time we go on Facebook Live and all that kind of stuff, and I'm picking like the cheesiest music. Um, okay, before we continue on, we need to announce some upcoming events. On February 9th in
Ooh.
Stream Mindset, VM will host a free live talk with speaker, coach, hypnotist Anthony Fiano called A Man's Relationship with Himself. The talk starts at 7 p.m. VM holds weekly voice chat hangouts on Mondays at 7 p.m. It's a great way for men to connect in a way that's not text. The LGBTQIA section of the server will hold their monthly chat on the 17th at 7:30 p.m. The topic will be mental health, and as all VM Live is every Friday at 8 p.m. All times are Eastern, and everything takes place on the Visible Man Discord server. The link for that will be in the show notes. Now, you can, obviously, if we keep doing this, you'll be able to watch the stream, but to communicate with us and be a part of the chat and all those kind of things, because we have stuff going on in the background, you'll need to join the Discord server. We're doing that for a couple of reasons. One, we want to bring you in to be a part of the community, and two, since we're, at least at this point, streaming at a bunch of different places, we don't want to have to pay attention to 15,000 different chats all rolling at the same time. Evan is good, but I don't want to torture our user any more than we have to, and he has to listen to us for an hour every week, and that might be enough. Okay, so Adro, we heard about Jeff's major breakup. We heard about my puppy love breakup. What about you, brother?
I mean, we went from one we went from one end to the other. I mean, I got stories I can go. I mean, like my absolute worst one is from my marriage. Um, so I mean, I don't even know where to start with that one. My wa- my ex-wife and I, you know, the we were we were in the cycle of where she would be doing okay in terms of like her issues with like substance use that I've discussed in previous shows. So watch the other shows. um, but we were in this good place, you know, for a while. You know, we had just had our second kid. You know, we had been together for a long time, and then I just noticed something change within her, and I thought it was the cycle going from like being good to going circling back to being bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried to do something different this time instead of trying to just ignore it and put more love into it, just trying to actually talk with her about it. And
Mm-hmm.
she didn't want to talk to me. And then it wasn't until I finally was able to get something out of her,
Mm-hmm.
like the night before our split actually happened. And I feel like she was like this close to telling me, and she couldn't tell me. Um, so at this point, I was actually away for a work thing. So I was not in
Mm-hmm.
town. This is pre-pandemic.
Nice.
um, it's actually pretty close to when the pandemic started. It's about 6 months before the
Mhm.
pandemic. So you know, I was traveling for work. So then like the next day, I still remember I was like an hour away from this real important meeting, and she texts me like, "Call me now." And it's like 11. You know, my meeting's at 1. It's like 11:30, and I call her, and she's just like, "I found someone else. I'm leaving you. Um,
Oh,
don't don't come home." You know, 'cause I was supposed to come home like the next night. She was like, "Don't come
Mm-hmm.
home, or like, don't come to like to you know to our house."
Right.
You know, so. that was the most painful one because of everything that happened after that too, where it was like this new person was this new person was the person that I was before, like a
Hmm.
junkie, a bad person, an addict, and
Hmm.
that's who she went with to because I became sober.
Right.
And so
Mm.
that was our split. And we have at that point we have a 4 year old. My oldest was four, and my oldest was five, and my youngest was one. She
Wow.
she was 1 year old. And so that was the most painful breakup that I've ever experienced, and I'm still going through it.
Hmm.
That was a little
Yeah.
over 2 years ago, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
It was October 2019, so right before the
Mm.
pandemic.
Yeah, like right
Yeah.
before, like it was already happening. We just didn't know yet. That's
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
One thing I found interesting, just as an aside with our divorces, we all left the house. Did you ever notice that?
I never went back. I
Yep.
never I never went back to that apartment. Like when I left for that trip, that was the last time I'd been to that
Really?
apartment.
That was the
I never
last
went
time.
I never went back. I never stepped back into that complex. I I haven't driven by it. I never got my
Wow.
stuff back. I literally, well, I got some of my stuff back and she gave it to me in a garbage bag, but everything else, like my clothes, like I needed work clothes and I needed,
Hmm.
like my work shoes and stuff, but everything else, I was like, throw it away. I don't want nothing.
Wow.
But isn't that? I wonder what the statistics are on that though.
About
Of
guys
in a
moving out?
relationship where, yeah, like how many times? No, I'm not talking about like the guy saying screw it, I'm done leaving, 'cause, but
Mm.
like how often does the relationship fail and then it's don't come home or find an apartment or whatever, like getting in a way kind of kicked out of the house. I wonder how often that happens for
Mm.
men versus women in the modern era, because I know back in the day like the man always left, um,
Mm.
or got kicked out. I wonder how often that happens now. One thing I noticed, because we are talking about how men kind of, or, it's from the male perspective as far as these breakups and things go. First things first, I think we go through the same thing. Anybody else. We have pain, we have sorrow, we cry, we do all those things, and we all kind of know that. We just don't act like it. Like we say that. We as a world, we say that. Men emote, but then like when they do, I just Adro, you may have actually sent it to me. There was a variations
Yep.
on the
Yeah, I
different
did.
famous memes of who was it? It was Will
It,
Smith, Kanye.
it was Yep, it
And who
was
was
Will
the other one?
Smith crying. It was Will Smith saying how like he became a meme when
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
his wife told him on live TV that like
Mm-hmm.
she was having an affair. There was
Mm-hmm.
Kanye when he had his breakdown, how everyone was making fun of like the face that he made. And then there was Tyrese, who was the
Yeah.
first one like a few years back when he went on Facebook, Instagram Live and was crying because
Mm-hmm.
because he hadn't seen his daughter for 2 years and he still
Yeah.
couldn't,
Uh,
and everyone was making fun of him. There was like another one too. Oh, no,
There
and
are,
then the
there's
the bottom one was this man like with his hand in his with his face in
mm-hmm.
his hands, and the woman is saying like, "Why won't you open up to me?"
mm.
It's yeah, it's that's a tale of how we do kind of look at those kind of things. I mean, we're looking at three people who are in various states of emotional breakdowns, whatever, and we turn that into a joke. I know the Michael Jordan crying one. I've seen that one. I don't remember what the original context was, but there are a bunch of those. Like there are a
He
lot
he
of those memes out there of
that
men
was a
breaking
happy
down.
cry
Oh, okay.
for
Um,
MJ, but yeah.
uh, why I which quarterback was it that fired and they would make fun of the tears that he
Mm.
cried. It was like his last game, and I was like, why would but
Mm.
Well, there's
so
like
we're not,
Terrell Owens. Is that who you're thinking
yeah,
of?
no, but there's
He was like,
probably
"That's
a
my
number of them,
quarterback."
right?
Mm.
But like we know that we all feel the same feelings when it comes to stuff, but we don't quite act like it yet. Another thing that I've kind of seen a lot, especially with the divorce culture and stuff on social media, is, and this has to do kind of with cheating, but it all kind of that same thing. Um, when a how do you put it? When a guy cheats on a girl, he's a dog. But when a girl cheats on a guy, they usually ask what the guy did to push her to that. You see that.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Mm.
felt a little bit of that in the ending of at least the divorce, because there was infidelity, but I felt like there was, people were questioning.
What
It
did
was
you
my
do?
fault. It was my
Yeah.
fault specifically, that the relationship failed, and so there was that added. I at first didn't say a whole lot, didn't do a whole lot, because I didn't want to be the guy who was out there just like, shouting out and talking badly about, my ex and that kind of stuff. And I found out over time that had been being done. So I felt trapped. I felt like at that point, if I were to then respond back, it's really just me. No one would take me seriously. And then there was a whole
Sorry.
thing about that's okay. Uh, people, claiming I was a narcissist, which then makes it so I can't say anything anyway.
Mhm.
But I felt that. I felt that pressure. I felt
Yeah.
that, guilt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that made that healing a lot harder, because there is an aspect in regular non-abusive, we're not counting those kind of relationships where there's multiple emotional or physical, danger or anything like that. I mean, that's a different kind. We're not experienced to really, discuss your everyday standard. It didn't work out. Like, both people failed in the relationship. If we're going to call it a failure, both people did. It takes two people to tango, and it takes two people to stop tangoing, and
Mm.
so that extra guilt made it harder for me to legitimately go back and review the relationship and see where I did mess up, because I felt like there was so
Yeah.
much that,
Mm.
I didn't actually do wrong, but I had to kind of sift through all it to the actual exploration and growth and all those kind of things, because
Yeah.
I felt that overwhelming, it must be my fault that the relationship didn't work,
Mm.
It takes a while to for you to take a step back and do that, because when you're in the throes of it, when you're in the beginning stages of like a breakup, you can't think rationally,
Mm.
you know.
Mhm.
So it's funny you brought up the meme, because that's how I feel what happened to me. Because one of the things that my ex would always say to me is that I was too emotional, like that my
Mhm.
emotions were too much for her. And
Mhm.
so when I remember this one time, like like the after we had broken up, because we hadn't really spoken other than small instances about like for about the kids and stuff like that. But
hmm
like the first real, she kept trying to draw me in for to a convo, and I wouldn't go for it. But the first time she did, like it was of course real emotional. We're yelling at each other and stuff, and I'm
hmm
crying and I'm saying all these things, and she had me on speakerphone, and her like the guy she left me with and his friends, they're having this big party at my apartment that I was still paying,
Oh.
and they're all laughing at me, and so so that's what she had said, like, and that though those comments on the memes is kind of the same thing
Oh,
that she
wow.
would tell me. It's like, see, that's why I can't.
Dude, that's
That's,
brutal.
yeah,
That's
it
terrible.
was bad.
That's
It
just
still it still hurts, because that literally happened like I don't know, a year and a half ago.
yeah.
um
I mean, you
yeah.
joined the server pretty quickly after that, didn't you?
Yeah, because that's when I found your F divorce account, Jack, and
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Like,
and
subscribe.
and that, because I had no idea where to look for like
hmm
help or guidance or advice or anything for divorce from men, because of course I Google, and everything was more geared towards like a
Yeah.
female audience.
That's all you
Yeah,
get.
and
That's all you get. For guys, for women, you get all the
yeah,
emotional stuff, and also how to hide your money, how to do these kind of things, like all these kind of skeevy things. And then for men, it was like how to make sure your assets are, under control. Like there was no like
How to suck it up.
this might hurt
no,
a little bit, and
exactly,
you need to
yeah,
Yeah.
work through it. They're like, no, you need to protect your
Yeah.
money, and you need to make sure your kids, your feelings don't matter right now.
Mhm.
exactly. Or
It
it's like,
doesn't
for
exist.
next time, yeah, for
Yeah,
next time,
yeah,
don't be as needy or feminine next time.
yeah. Got to be
That's
alpha.
exactly what it
Got to
was.
be more alpha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe, but that kind of stuff isn't really unheard of, And the point of this discussion is not to sit there and say breakups are worse for men. It's not the case. At
They're
least I don't
tough
think so.
both ways.
But they're
Yeah.
tough, and
Yeah.
and I think, at least in my case, there was an added societal pressure that I felt, whether or not the people around me, were cool with it or not, whatever it was, where I felt like I wasn't allowed to kind of emote and allowed to have those
Yeah.
breakdowns and allowed to express the pain in its fullness. But unfortunately, the tool I used to try to numb those things away was probably at that time a combination of Jameson, Tullamore Dew,
Yeah.
and Yingling. All sponsors, by the way, now. And the feelings, they have a way of coming up anyway. They were gonna come up, and I was just
Yes,
making
they
it
are.
worse because now they were coming up drunk. But
Well,
Volcanic.
it's like we don't have the practice up to that
That too.
point. It's not like we're emoting regularly, daily, weekly, and we've got like a channel for these things to happen. It's like all of a sudden you're forced to run a marathon. You haven't even like trained for a 5K yet. And you're like, you don't have the rehearsal for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it's interesting that you said channel, because we do weirdly have a channel for that on Discord for
Oh,
the Get It
really?
Off Your Chest section. Hey, Jeff, we're coming up to the end of the show. I don't think we've solved the problem of breakups, but I think we've at least established that they are no fun for anyone involved.
No.
I know we have a couple of guys dealing with it now that are in the community, and it's just kind of a reminder that the Visible Man Discord server is for anyone over the age of 18 can kind of come in, especially men, and talk about those things in a safe environment where they know they're not going to be judged. They know that are listening, and that they care and that they want to help them through this. So once again, anybody over the age of 18, you are invited to join the Discord server where we have daily moderated discussions on men and men's mental health. Well, I believe that's the end of our first successful live stream. I'm pretty happy with it. Remember to check out the Patreon if you like the work that we're doing here. Check it out at patreon.com/visibleman. Just mention the Discord server, so you should be pretty well aware of that by now. Keep up to date with all the great things going on at Visible Man by checking us out at visibleman.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest,
MySpace.
and OnlyFans coming soon. I did look into doing it.
We've got the
Impressed by it.
placeholder for OnlyFans. We're ready to
Yeah,
go.
we do.
We just need
We're
some
getting there.
content.
Anyway, thank you all for tuning in to VM Live. My name's Jack Rollins, and for everybody here at Visible Man, just reminding you that vulnerability is the ultimate demonstration of strength.